Hi everyone. As a part of today's video, we are going to help the people who are stuck in this Superbadge called Name Credential Superbadge unit. As a prerequisite, you should be able to complete all the other badges that are there before you attempt the Superbadge unit. I was able to complete the Superbadge, thought of sharing the solution for people who are stuck in the Superbadge. This video is not intended to help anybody quickly pass this exam, but just to help out people who are having an issue in terms of completing this Superbadge. First, we need to go to this Anypoint Exchange portal. I've just logged in. In case if you do not have an account, feel free to create an account by following the simple steps that are provided in this link. It is just like creating a Salesforce org. Provide your details and you should be able to access this Anypoint Exchange. So I have it open here. You'll be landing onto this page as in when you log in. Click on this integration security. Under this integration security, we are trying to access this endpoint called equipments as a part of this entire Superbadge. That is where we are trying to create a name credential. Go to the home section of it. This is where you would be requesting the access. In the API instance, we'll be selecting the API instance that is mentioned in the Superbadge, which is this value, which is the same. I have selected it. Seeing this error, in case if you want to do a new one, click on this, enter, and click on create. So once you have created that, that is where you'll see the application name in here. And once done, click on request access. This is the client ID and secret. This will be used to connect from Salesforce to this anypointmulesoft.com to get the API that we have seen, which is equipments. Feel free to copy this somewhere on a notepad so that way we can access this information in the future. So we are done with the steps on the MuleSoft side. Let's switch back to the Superbadge to see what we have to do. So first we need to create a name credentials, and it is not a legacy name credentials that we are creating, but we are creating a external credentials and then use that external credentials in the name credentials. Let's quickly see how we need to do that. Before you use a Salesforce org, make sure that you're creating a new org from here. That way it would have the pre-built configurations that would help us complete this Superbadge. So feel free to click on this link. Provide the details, just like how you sign up for a Salesforce org, and you will be good to use that org. And once done, you'll get an email, verify your account. Upon verification, we need to follow a couple steps, which is connecting that org back to the trailhead. What we need to do is you need to go to the trailhead account, click on connect an org. That is where you need to enter the username and password, so that way the newly created org gets connected to the trailhead, which would be allowing us to validate the challenge, and if successful, we'll be able to complete this batch. So I've already done that. Let me just quickly access that org so that we can see what has been configured. I have the org open. Let's quickly see what we need to do here. So we have created an org, we have connected it to the trailhead. Now we need to go to the section where we need to build the external credentials. So the name of the external credentials that we are going to build is Secure Research. Let me just quickly go ahead and search for name credentials first. Under the external credentials, that is where you need to start. I'm just opening the external credentials that I've created, but you have to start with a new one. Click on Secure Research. I'm just clicking on it just to show you the options that you would see while creating a new one. Enter the label that has been provided here. Same with the API name and authentication protocol, set it to custom in here. Once done, click on save. This part of the section is completed. This related name credentials is something that we are going to create in the future. For time being, you don't have to do anything. You'll be seeing an empty section when you create a new one in the external credentials. You scroll down, you see another section called principles. This is where you need to start building the other sections that have been mentioned in here. This part is what we are going to build. Let's quickly go ahead and see what is there. Or click on new, but I'm just clicking on edit just to show you what has been configured. Would mention it as infra collection. That is what has been asked here. Add a parameter name infra collection. We have done that. Sequence can be default to 1. And here you would be creating 2 parameters by clicking on add. First one would be the client secret, this one, and second one would be the client ID. What is the value that we'll be entering in here? We'll be entering the values that we have copied from the AnyPoint API, because this is what we are trying to connect. So you'll be copying the client secret and ID accordingly to the sections that you have created as a parameters. So once done, you'll click on save. Again, this principal access section would be empty for you. We'll come back to that section a little later. For time being, you would be entering these 2 parameters and clicking on save. Now comes the section where we need to assign the permission to the user that you are using and another user called the user that is mentioned in here. For that, what we need to do is search for permission set. We might need permission set and a group. Let's open both of them. I'll just go to the permission set first. Look for the permission set that was mentioned in the trailhead, which is I have it here. Just click on it. In case if it is not created, just feel free to create a permission set with this name. So once you open this permission set, if it is not created, feel free to create it. And once you do that, go to the object settings and look for this permission. Look for this object there. I'll just quickly go to the permission set, search for it. Here is what we have. That object, click on edit, provide this 3 permissions, click on save. You'll be good on this section. So once that is done, now we needed to add it to the permission set group that is mentioned in here. If you see here, we have a permission set group where in which we need to add that permission set that we have created. So I'll just go to the permission set that we have, permission set group that we have opened earlier. So this is that permission. I'll just open it. In case if it is not created, feel free to create with the information that is being provided here. So this is the name and this is the API name. And once done, you'll be seeing this page. You have to click on the section which says permission set in group. And that is where you need to add this permission set that we have seen earlier, which is this permission set, the MuleSoft one. Click on this checkbox and click on add. Since I've already done that, I'm not doing it. I'll click on cancel. You see something like this. Now, since we are done with this step, I'll just go back to the permission set group. And finally, what has been finally left out is we need to add the users that were mentioned to this permission set. I'll quickly click on manage assignment. So these are the 2 names that we need to add as mentioned in this section. One is your user and second one is the user that has been mentioned. All you need to do is go to that permission set, click on add assignment, select the names. One is this one, another is your user. And finally, once you have selected those users, you'll be seeing a button. And then it says next. And finally, we'll click on assign. Since I've already done that step, I'm just skipping that for now. And I'll go back to the permission set group that we are looking at. All right. Now, What we have done so far is we have created a permission set group, assigned that permission set that we have created. And what is missing is we need to assign this permission set to this external credentials that we have created. Remember, there was a section which is, if I go to the external credentials, this section would be empty for you. This section would be empty for you. The way you need to provide the access is you go to the permission set and you'll be seeing something called external credential principal access, permission to authenticate with the external credentials principal mapping. Click on this link. And that is where you will see this association after doing this step. Click on edit in case if you have not done that. You'll be seeing this option on the left hand side. Try to move it on the right hand side and click on save. Since I've already done that, I'm closing this step. You would be seeing something like this. Let's also see the same thing in the permission set group. Opening the permission set group, looking for external credential principal access. So you have this step already been done. So we don't need to do anything in here. So what we have done this step wherein which we have assigned the right permission set to the external credentials. So now we are done with the step wherein which we have completed this process. So once you are done with this step, if you refresh this page, you would be seeing this access coming up here, principal access. That means we are good. So last but not the least, you can create this custom headers in here. All we need to do is click on new, provide the name that has been mentioned in here. Client ID and the secret by entering the client ID first and the value that we have seen earlier. Client ID, and this value is something that we are providing this value. Make sure that you are providing it as the exact value, or else you might get into errors while validating your badge. And same goes with your ID. Client ID goes in here and client secret goes in here. It is the research secure where in which we are providing this details. So that is all from the external credentials side. We need to go to the name credentials to do the rest. So this part is complete. Now we are heading on to the name credentials section. You click on new in case you click on new in case if you have not already done this step. Get the name of the name credentials from your Trailhead batch, which is Research Guardian. Copy that name, provide in here, and the API name has also been mentioned here. API name, and this is the endpoint that you need to copy. In case if you do not find it, do not worry, you can go back in here, close this one. Go to the API instance, copy this. This is the URL that you need to use in this section. Name, label, name are being provided here. URL is also provided there in case if you want to validate, this is how you can validate. It is the same URL that you are copying it from the API instance. So under the external credentials, you would be finding the option that we have configured previously. Select that option. Check this checkbox, allow, make sure that these two checkboxes are checked. And once done, click on save. Since I've already done that, I'm not doing it. I'll open the one that I've already created. So you'll be seeing the name here, API name and the URL. You'll be seeing the external credentials part in here. This client certificate comes in the second challenge. For time being, first challenge is something that you make sure that this is valid and these two checkboxes are checked. If you scroll down, you would see something called custom headers. Create, click on new, provide client secret and the value just like how it is mentioned in here. The sequence would be 1 and 2. Since I've already created 1 and 2, you would see something called 3 here. So feel free to populate these two values, and that is where your first challenge would be completed.
Hey guys, if you like this video, do like, share and subscribe to SFDC Quest.